Ohio State lost to Oklahoma opening the season, won 3 more at the Maui Classic. They've done well away from home. South Carolina has not left home except for 1 game. That was the double OT win at Tennessee the other night. At midcourt, it'll be John Hudson for South Carolina in the whites, jumping it up against Perry Carter of the Buckeyes in their road reds, and here we go. Jay Burson has it for the Buckeyes.
South Carolina comes out right away playing their man-to-man defense. They want to make this a half-court basketball game.
Jamal Brown to Burson. They go down deep, and it's a turnover over the arms of Tony White. But on the heels of that turnover, we'll see full-court pressure all night long from the Buckeyes, and Gary Williams, as well as George Felton, know, Quinn, South Carolina has not been pressed this year.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. You see the pressure's just come up, almost get them a steal right there. But that's what they want to do. The 2 guards are untested. Brent Price and Barry Manning have virtually been untested in the full-court pressure.
John Hudson tipping that ball out of bounds for South Carolina. Jay Burson will trigger it in for the Buckeyes. Picks all over the place, and they get Perry Carter in the right corner. Out on top to the emotional leader of this team, Francis. Burson right corner, and that's a 3-pointer for Jay, shooting 35% from that range, and he's leading the team with 24 a game. And the Big Ten.
Yeah, well, Jay Burson is an emotional player, but he's the guy that's going to get them going. If South Carolina lets him shoot that shot, they've got real problems tonight. If
they collapse down on Carter, Burson will have a big game tonight. Terry Dozier at the foul line, and John Hudson.
Hudson is the leading scorer. South Carolina wants to get the ball in his hand as often as they can to see what he can do inside.
Hudson and Dozier, both preseason honorable mention All-Americans. Here's Francis for Carter. A triple team down low, and Francis will shoot the 3. A little bit strong. And it's up over the support, and it belongs to South Carolina. This is a crowd that doesn't sound like most of the students have gone home for the holidays.
No, not at all. As you see Gary Williams there, you see his record. The crowd came out well tonight. We were told that was not going to be the case, but there is a good crowd here.
Here's Brent Price. A couple of good young guards here tonight. Price, a sophomore, against the senior Burson. Down deep, nicely done. 1 dribble, losing the ball. Barry Manning, but he didn't get a foul.
That was a good cut by Barry Manning. Ohio State can ill afford to let those kind of opportunities present themselves for South Carolina. Barry Manning just cut to the basket. He was wide open. Hudson made the pass.
Barry Manning and John Hudson, the best athletes on the South Carolina team. Dozier triggers it in. They go right side. Price back on top to Manning.
Ohio State came out in a 1-2-2. Let Brent Price open on the shot, and you see what he can do. He's a 3-point shooter. Shoots a lot like his brother. If you look at him shooting, his rhythm is very much the same.
He's only hitting 56% from 3-point range. There's a steal. Here come the Gamecocks. Price to Manning. They'll slow it up now. They will not take a shot on the break unless it's a layup or in close-in jumper, Quinn. That's why they slowed it up.
Well, they want to keep this a half-court game, so they'll make some good decisions on shots. As you see Barry Manning take that jump shot. But that's after a couple passes. That's a good shot.
South Carolina on top 7-3. We're 2 minutes in. Burson for Francis. Inside, Jamal Brown wheeling and dealing, and he couldn't get it to roll. Outlet. Here comes Brent Price for South Carolina.
That's a great take to the hoop by Brent Price. This kid is really a competitor. He took it right to the defense. But what you're really seeing is that Ohio State is getting shaken up by the pressure that they thought would shake up South Carolina.
There's the long reach by Jeff Ralston, a freshman center out of Summerville, South Carolina. Number 13, called by the coaches the biggest surprise on this team. You'll see him reaching a lot on defense. He's got an unbelievable wingspan. Look at those arms, and he draws the foul.
He's been a pleasant surprise for him. That's one thing South Carolina hadn't had very much of in the last few years, was a force in the middle. They expect Ralston to be that force.
For quite a while to come. Both of these teams have good young big men. Jamal Brown against Brent Price. Carter does a 180 along the baseline to Tony White, and collapsing defense by Barry Manning knocked it over the baseline.
Well, that was good help by Barry Manning. Perry Carter was going to the basket, turned around, and before he knew it, he had 5 white shirts there to help.
Burson to Carter. Francis thought about it from 3, penetrates to 14 feet. Dozier had a touch, and Tony White will get the foul. Team foul number 2 on the Buckeyes. We're 3 minutes and 47 seconds in, and Carolina all over Ohio State, 9-3, despite the Buckeye pressure.
So the pressure, I think, is hurt Ohio State much more so than it has South Carolina. I just think that Ohio State is just a little impatient.
Nice tip by Manning to Price, 13-footer. And up in the air a little bit too soon was Jeff Ralston, who could not anticipate the rebound off the iron. Jay Burson transitioning. He's very good against the full court pressure. Francis doing a 360, and that looks like foul number 2 on Jeff Ralston, and George Felton is out of his mind mad in front of the South Carolina bench.
Well, he's out of his mind mad because he knows how important Jeff Ralston is going to be to him. You see right here, Jerry Francis doing what he does best. He takes the ball to the basket, and Ralston sees that he's going to come, and he does get in the way. The official made the call. I have to say it's a good foul, but Jerry Francis caused the contact by being aggressive and taking the ball to the basket. The problem with Ralston on that particular play is I thought he got over a little late, should have got in position, just put his hands up. He didn't do that. The official called him for a foul, but he's a young player. He's got to learn.
Gamecocks have to go to the bench with 6'8" freshman Joe Rhett out of Eau Claire High School right here in Columbia. Rhett is an Alex English clone, they say. He plays just like A.E. did here years ago, and that means smooth and easy.
Well, Alex English can get it done, ladies and gentlemen, and if Rhett is anything like Alex English, he's going to be a tremendous player.
Now, instant fire is what Gary Williams calls this guy. There's Jerry Francis checking out. Chris Gent, a 6'7" freshman, is in. A real emotional guy right in the upper center part of your screen there. Instant fire, they call him, coming in off the bench.
Well, he's an inspirational player, and I'm sure that's why Gary Williams put him in. He doesn't think his team is up to the task the way they're playing right now.
Hey, what about intensity here, Quinn? Gary Williams and George Felton. There's some intensity on that far sideline tonight.
Believe me, I have been around some intensity. These two young coaches have very much the same thing.
Through the hands of Rhett off a bullet pass by John Hudson, the South Carolina turnover. Felton's team not dealing with the pressure that time, and Chris Gent, who had 16 points and 9 rebounds in a win at Dayton the other night by a score of 104-76, throws it in for the Buckeyes, who still only have 1 field goal. Burson with a 3 and a free throw in the game. It's 9-4 South Carolina. Gent for Jamal Brown, and Burson for 3. This will be short. Carter with a nice offensive rebound, but Perry couldn't contain it and bounced it on the baseline.
Well, Perry Carter, he lost that one off his foot, but he is a very good offensive rebounder. Over 40% of his rebounds are on the offensive end, and they've usually resulted in baskets.
Hudson ahead to Price as they break the pressure. Buckeyes will drop back now in a man-to-man. Joe Rhett against Tony White. This is Terry Dozier on top. Manning against Jamal Brown.
South Carolina doing a good job showing patience here, trying to get a good opportunity.
Shot clock on the air ball was down inside 20. And transitioning, Jay Burson for the running Buckeyes. Up quickly, too strong with that jumper. Brent Price just out-muscled on that rebound attempt. Brent Price against Perry Carter won't get many boards for South Carolina.
No, he won't get a lot. Brent won't get a lot of boards, but what he will do is he'll fight, and that's what you want, somebody that will compete.
Burson goes baseline right and draws a foul on Big John Hudson. You know, Jay Burson was the all-time leading high school scorer in the state of Ohio out of New Concord with 2,598 points. But this is how he draws fouls on other guys down deep.
This is Jay Burson at his best. He's taking the ball into traffic, and there's definitely a foul. What Hudson gets to for his own rights is the ability to go straight up. At that particular shot, when Jay Burson came to him, Hudson reached his hand over Jay Burson's head and got called for the foul.
Jay Burson trying to hit his 19th straight free throw. And as he does, we'll take a timeout here in Columbia. We played 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Carolina on top by an early score of 9-6. With Quinn Buckner, this is Bob Carpenter at the Carolina Coliseum in Columbia. 4 minutes and 17 seconds elapsed. South Carolina got out to a big lead, 9-3. It's now 9-6. George Felton, formerly an assistant with Bobby Cremins at Georgia Tech. He was an ace recruiter there. In fact, he recruited Mark Price to Atlanta, and that helped him bring Brent Price to Columbia. Brent has the basketball right now as the Gamecocks lead by 3. Over the timeline is Manning. Dozier on top to Joe Rett. It'll be interesting to see how long George Felton goes before getting Jeff Ralston back in there playing early with those 2 fouls.
Well, I think he's got to be real careful about that. You've got a freshman who's never played in this kind of a contest before, who was a bit anxious before, and he may stay that way. And if he gets his 3rd foul, that's a problem.
And the big thing about number 13 on the bench for South Carolina, his job is not to score, it's to rebound and play defense. Some early field goal stats for you. The Buckeyes on the year are shooting 54%, as are the Gamecocks.
They're both shooting great percentages, but one of the things I think needs to be mentioned here, coming out of this timeout, I would be very interested to see how Ohio State shows some patience on the other end.
With 2 on the shot clock, Barry Manning gets his 3rd and 4th points, and it's 11-6 South Carolina.
That was a tough shot by Barry Manning.
That's what you call using the clock, partner.
You can't use it much better than that.
Turnover off the hands of Chris Gent, and back come the Gamecocks with Brent Price against Burson. Big Ten against the Metro here tonight. Louisville expected to be the team that is the best in the Metro Conference. No surprise when you talk about Denny Crum's Cardinals, but look out for Florida State and for South Carolina this year. They say Memphis State is getting better as well. Manning too strong and Hudson up strong. There was definitely bumping taking place, but the officials said play on, and they are Metro officials, by the way. Baseline right, jump hook, Gent.
Those are the kind of things that Chris Gent can do. He's not afraid to take the ball in traffic. He's a great jump shooter, but right there you saw him do a great turnaround, little jump hook.
Chris Gent averaging 15 minutes a game and averaging 8 points in that time.
Well, a lot of things he is, but he's not gun shy. He will shoot the basketball.
Yeah, we saw that in practice. I tell you, watching these 2 teams practice is pretty intense just sitting there as a spectator. Here's Price for 3.
This shot, he shoots it just like his brother Mark. Their dad is a coach, so these kids have been around basketball a long time. They understand how to play. Great form on that shot by Brent Price.
Same with Jay Burson, whose father coaches in Ohio. Shooter's roll won't go down for Perry Carter. Here comes Price, who at Tennessee on Saturday night hit 3 straight 3-pointers in the second half to bring them back from 14 down to get them into overtime, and they finally won it when Hudson and Dozier took over. Price actually fouled out in that game. Manning too strong. Rebound Perry Carter, who's averaging a team-leading 8 boards a game. Look at Burson wiggle through.
Great play by Jay Burson. He froze Brent Price, who I think may be getting a little bit tired. Got the layup.
Transition. Price coast to coast and stopped by Perry Carter. It'll belong to Ohio State. A big collision by the Buckeyes' Chris Gent and the Gamecocks' Terry Dozier away from the basketball.
Well, again, you see George Felton, but that's what you want to do. You see right now, what was going to happen right here is get the ball up. They got it in their ball handler's hand, push it up, see what opportunities prevail. Brent does a good job, but Perry Carter does a better job of blocking the shot.
Out in the forecourt, Jay Burson with a foul. The right part of your screen is a 7-footer for Ohio State. A 7-foot senior from Akron, Grady Mateen, number 51, who just checked in. Tony White had a seat. And for South Carolina, Troy McCoy, 23, checks in. And taking a seat after coming in for Jeff Ralston is Joe Rett.
Ohio State has come out just showing a little bit of pressure, just trying to get the ball out of Price's hand.
Manning up strong, a little too strong. Carter tipping it around. Kept in play nicely by McCoy. And the foul on Chris Gent of Ohio State. That will be 14 fouls on the Buckeyes.
But more importantly than that, I think, is the fact that that's an offensive rebound which can result into an immediate basket. And Ohio State is going to have to do something about Troy McCoy because he's a tremendous jumper and he jumps very quickly.
Gary Williams has not been real wild about the way the Buckeyes have been hitting the boards lately.
No, that was one of his concerns coming into this game, whether or not his team was going to rebound, because he knows how important it is, both on the offensive end, but defensively, to be the catalyst of that break.
Inside, McCoy! Brent Price is averaging 7 assists per game. Now he gets a steal. Left side, Manning!
The tempo of this game is most definitely in Ohio State's favor, but I'd have to say South Carolina is doing a much better job getting the ball up and down the court.
Almost 8 minutes in, and the Gamecocks have taken an 8-point lead. Another big doubleheader on ESPN tomorrow night. College basketball. The ACC has the Demon Deacons against #1 Duke. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern. A little later, Tarkanian's number 13 ranked Running Rebels against the Rhode Island club from up east. And
on the press, his work against Ohio State, I think Jay Burson makes a bad decision there. You see Brent Price come up with the ball, pull the defense to him. You see Troy McCoy take it to the basket.
Ohio State 5 turnovers so far. South Carolina 3. And the Gamecocks are shooting 57% from the field. Under 40 for the visitors, who work it inside beautifully. And Grandpa, they call him, Jerry Francis, gets his first field goal.
Yeah, he does move like Grandpa. But the most important thing for Ohio State is just to stay patient.
He's also been around for a while. Francis making his 91st consecutive start tonight, playing in Ohio State game number 107 in his career. Manning down deep to Hudson with Francis guarding him. A nice quick move underneath. And you can see some of the quickness and athletic ability of John Hudson right there as Grady Mateen appears to be the guilty party.
Yeah, I thought that was an outstanding job of Hudson getting position down on the block, fake to the baseline, came back to the middle, and now he's shooting 2 foul shots. Hudson has been really a stabilizing factor for him. He's a junior college transfer, came from San Jacinto. They've had some tremendous teams down there, and he's come here and I think helped them on both on what they're trying to get accomplished. George Felton had tried to recruit him before he went when he was at playing with Bobby Crimmins at Georgia Tech. He decided Hudson to come here, and now he's playing pretty well for him.
Yeah, they play a little b-ball down at San Jack in Texas. Always one of the great JUCO programs. Now, with almost 9 minutes elapsed, it's 20-12 for the home team as Ohio State tries to break the South Carolina pressure. Grady Mateen, not in time. They didn't get it over the timeline in 10 seconds, and it goes back to the Gamecocks.
Well, part of the problem is Grady Mateen ended up with the basketball in the backcourt, and that's just what South Carolina wants. You got a 7-footer have to make decisions, and Grady Mateen didn't do a very good job on it that time.
They go back deep to Manning to get it in. Burson nearly a steal. Francis has it, takes it with Burson watching and scores. Great job by Jay Burson.
Absolutely, just great hands. Got his hand down there by the basketball, calls the steal.
Price for Dozier, and rejected, but a foul before that. Grady Mateen blocking. Perry Carter, though, with a blocking foul. That time, South Carolina transitioning nicely, 2-on-2.
And I agree with you on South Carolina's part, but I have to say Ohio State did a very poor job in their defensive transition. They got a basket on one end, players didn't get back on the other end, and now they're looking at an opportunity for South Carolina to shoot 2 foul shots.
You know, it's interesting, Quinn. Ohio State early. By the way, this is JoJo English, who can jump out of this gym or any gym in America as Barry Manning sits down. Ohio State already has 16 fouls, but South Carolina is not a good foul shooting team.
No, and I think that's going to hurt him. We get into a very tough, close contest down the stretch. That's going to hurt him. But I have to say this for South Carolina. They needed some big free throws to ice the game in Tennessee. Barry Manning stepped up to the line and knocked down 3 in order for them to ice that game.
Terry Dozier, along with John Hudson, the 2 seniors that did the job in overtime. In fact, Hudson had 6 of South Carolina's 11 points in that OT at Knoxville to help win that game.
And Dozier did a very good job of shutting down Dyron Nix, the star for Tennessee.
We're 45 seconds away from the midpoint of the first half. Burson against Price, takes it up strong. Little short on the jumper. And hitting the offensive boards nicely are the Buckeyes, who will keep control of the ball.
They did do a very good job on the board. But I have to say right now, Jay Burson may be trying to take the burden upon his shoulders by himself, and he's taking some bad shots. I thought that was a bad opportunity, and he doesn't need to take those.
He had a man open on the left wing and went against 2 defenders. Offensive foul, Perry Carter. That's his second. And team foul 7 against the Bucks.
Well, more importantly, that's going to be a decision shortly here for Gary Williams, because Perry Carter is their leading rebounder, and they need to make sure he stays in the entire game.
JoJo Hudson to Price, 3-on-2. But Dozier will stop it, and they'll set up the half-court offense.
Good decision.
Left side, that is Troy McCoy. He has 4. 1 over his season average. lead by 10. We're down to the halfway point now in the first half.
Well, I can tell you something. I played here, and we got our brains beat out when I was at Indiana. This place gets loud. They are very tough. It's very tough to play in here.
Traveling on Perry Carter, baseline right. Tough D by the home team, and Gary Williams' Buckeyes a bit rattled at the moment. Jay Burson is 0 for his last 4 in shooting, and it's a 10-point spread with 9:50 left first half. Brent Price now being guarded by James Bradley, number 4, who checked in a few moments ago for the Buckeyes. Joe Rett is up and ready to check back in for South Carolina. Dozier against Tony White. Price for 3, and he has hit 3 straight.
You can see that as soon as it left his hands, Gary Williams decided to call a timeout. As soon as Brent got the basketball, he knew he was going to storm a three-pointer, knocked it right down.
Ohio State using 2 timeouts already. It's a 13-point Gamecock lead.
When you got to press, the one thing you want to try to do is they threw over the top. South Carolina did, and right away what they'll do is get the ball to one of the guards, and Brent Price will bring it up to the middle. No problem beating the press for him there. Now they'll set up and do what they do best, a half-court game. Now they're very patient, get the ball, and they swing it around to Brent Price, and he knew right away he was going to stick it. I mean, he stroked it. You see 3-pointers, but it's just interesting the confidence that he has right now. You see he's shooting 56% for the season. He's 3 for 3 tonight. Ohio State is 1 for 3 and 44 for the season.
And South Carolina from the field tonight hitting 10 of 16, 63%. Ohio State not bad, 5 of its first 11, but already 5 more shots attempted by the home team than the visitors. And keep in mind as well, South Carolina is in the bonus situation. The Gamecocks only have 3 team fouls against them.
I've seen a good decision, I think, by Gary Williams. What he's done is take the ball out of Jay Burson's hands against the press, so Jay doesn't get beat up and he's so tired.
Down deep, Tony White drawing a foul on Joe Rett. You saw number 4, James Bradley, in the game. He was the guy Gary Williams was jawing at during the last time out. He set up the offense here.
Well, you see Jerry Francis right here. There's a good pass right down low to Tony White. And Tony does the absolute right thing. Take the ball strong to the basket. He's been a very steady player for him.
Tony White is the power forward, a very good rebounder. He'll often bang against the toughest opposing forward. He gets both of the free throws for his first points of the night. Grady Mateen, a 7-footer, will check back in, the senior. Perry Carter will sit down. By the way, Grady Mateen has a very talented sister, Rhonda. She stands 6'4". She's one of the stars of the Purdue women's team.
The Purdue team is having an outstanding season this year, too.
Yep, the Lady Boilers are nationally ranked. 27-16 South Carolina. The clock passes by the 9-minute mark in the first half.
Ohio State has come out into a 1-2-2 zone.
JoJo English stopped his dribble and then took about an 8-foot step.
Well, he did a European move, and in European basketball, that's a good step. He took a dribble, came to a 2-foot jump step. The official probably hadn't seen it recently, made the call. I would say in a little while, JoJo English should get away with that call.
JoJo guarding James Bradley, a couple of number 4s matching up in midcourt. Francis right wing to Burson. What about Jay Burson and the Buckeyes' attempt to get back into this one, Quinn?
Well, as I said earlier, they just have to be patient. They'll get opportunities like that. You see a great defensive play there by Troy McCoy. But Ohio State just must be patient offensively.
He got Jerry Francis from behind, and the Gamecocks with an 11-point lead have the half-court offense going. They have shot outstanding from the field. The man with the ball, Brent Price, is 3 for 3 from 3-point range. Penetration baseline left, but on the baseline was stepping Troy McCoy.
Here's something that I think is going to be interesting to watch. I think a great deal of what's happened initially here with South Carolina is the emotion. They've just been nationally ranked for the first time in some 13, 14 years. Now they've been playing with this emotion. Can they sustain it? Can you get through an entire 40 minutes that way? That's going to be the task for George Felton to find out.
Joe Rett and Troy McCoy sat down. John Hudson and Barry Manning back in for South Carolina. So the guys spelling the starters off the bench did very well. And that will be goaltending. Give 2 points to Jerry Francis.
Well, and that's just a bad decision to jump up there and knock the ball out away from the basket that way. You don't know whether or not it's going in, but once you goaltend it, that's automatic 2 points. Very bad decision there.
That gets the lead back to single figures, 27-18. Ohio State trying to trap Manning as he steps over the half-court line. They got out of it well, and now they set up the offense with 30 on the shot clock. Let's see how much of the shot clock they use here. With a 9-point lead in the last 7:40 of the first half. Well, the turnover goes out of bounds with 24 seconds left on the clock. And a substitution. Joe Rett will come right back in for the Gamecocks. And Stephen M. JoJo English will take a seat.
George Felton, as you saw there in the screen, a little bit upset. That was a poor decision by Manning, a poor execution. As you see, Burson's only got 7 points tonight. Price got 11.
Yeah, but Burson's all came early. We haven't heard from Jay in about 7 or 8 minutes. The shot off by James Bradley. And taking control was John Hudson for South Carolina. Buckeyes giving a zone look in the forecourt. And the missed baseline left. Rebound, Dozier. After Hudson couldn't get it down.
That's a good offensive rebound basket there by Dozier. He just stayed around there, knocked the ball over to himself, got a basket from him.
That's a big lift for South Carolina because their coaches don't consider Dozier a great rebounder. Burson keeps it alive after Mateen did, and Francis traveled in the paint.
That's a good call in there. Jay Francis, and trying to avoid all of the jumping and the traffic, traveled with the basketball trying to get in there.
29-18. 6:45 remaining first half. With Quinn Buckner, Bob Carpenter at the Carolina Coliseum in Columbia. Gamecocks are 5-0. The Buckeyes are 6-1. Both teams on winning streaks for all of their wins. At the Maui Classic, it was Ohio State losing its season opener to Oklahoma 97-89. Dozier with the miss, and Burson has it on the long rebound.
This is where he's at his best.
A little too strong.
He missed that shot, but that's where Jay Burson is at his best. Pushing the ball up court, avoiding people, running, moving with the basketball. That's where he's an extremely good player.
He was trying to shoot over John Hudson, who he had drawn a foul against earlier in this game with a similar move down to the baseline right. Hudson can't answer at the other end. Rhett has it taken away by James Bradley, who goes touchdown to Francis.
That's a great pass by Bradley. Percy made a great defensive play coming up with the basketball, threw it up to Jay Francis for the 2 points.
And also the experience of Francis. He saw the steal and got right down the floor.
Yeah, he did. He knew that would be an easy opportunity if he got up. He did, because that's the tempo that Ohio State wants to get right now.
Nobody understands the Gary Williams philosophy better than Jerry Francis, who played under Eldon Miller before Williams showed up in Columbus. Here's Price penetrating.
That was a tough shot there.
Brent Price with 13 of South Carolina's 31. With 5:10 left, it's an 11-point game.
Now it's time for somebody on Ohio State other than Jay Burson to take a little bit of the scoring effort and get some things happening for Ohio State.
Francis tried to get it down to Tony White. Brady Mateen out away from the basket. He won't be shooting out there. Underneath, Burson from Bradley, and the turnover.
That was the right idea. You saw Jay Burson telling Bradley that, yes, that's what you want to do. It was a good opportunity. And I see Jay Burson again telling James Bradley, that's my fault. You throw the ball down there every time. Anytime you get that opportunity, you try to take advantage of it.
More basketball on ESPN coming up on Thursday night. The Crimson Tide against the Bulldogs. Many think Georgia will win the SEC this year. And then the Mountaineers against UNC Charlotte on ESPN. Left side jumper, John Hudson. He has a half dozen. And it's SC by 13. Good ball movement here by the Buckeyes, though, as Burson goes high off the glass. And White. Tony has the follow tip. He has 4.
Great tip by Tony White. Play was again made by Jay Burson. People came over to help out from South Carolina. When they did that, Tony White got free, was able to get the basket.
Gent with the turnover. Down the court, Burson right by Price. The foul and the basket will count. Little continuation action there by the official, Bob Ola.
I thought that was a good call. I thought that Gent did a good job coming up with the basketball. Jay Burson recognized that, got down, and you see pushed up. Right here, Gent comes up with the basketball, does a good job getting it up court. Jay Burson's going to try to draw the contact. You see, he's going into the shot when the official makes the call. It was a very good call.
First foul on Brent Price. And Jay Burson now with 20 straight free throws. He is red hot from the stripe where he came in hitting 88%. There's Jamal Brown, a freshman out of Arlington, Texas, who checks back in. He was a starter. And getting a breather is Burson. Francis also takes his seat, or did just a few moments ago.
They took Jay Burson out, and I think rightfully so. He was a little bit winded. They need to save him for later in the game.
Manning straight ahead, and Rhett penetrates. Barely caught the bottom of the iron with a line drive jumper, and here come the Buckeyes. We'll see if Chris Gent is that spark off the bench. He got the steal and the assist a moment ago. Out on top to White, and this is James Bradley against Manning. Against Perry Carter, it'll belong to the Buckeyes, but number 31 hustling on defense. 3:38 left first half, and now the Gamecocks lead the Buckeyes by 8.
Coming down on the press, the things you want to try to do, particularly defensively, is you'll see that Ohio State's gotten back in it, and Jay Burson is on the left-hand corner of your screen, up right on the left-hand corner. But as soon as he recognizes that there's a pass stolen, he takes off. That's something that you don't teach a kid. He knows right away that there's an opportunity to get a basket. He gets out ahead, gets a three-point play.
So Jay Burson is back in the offense. He has double figures of 10. Brent Price has 13 for South Carolina, so the guards, as advertised, playing well. And up strong for his first basket of the night, averaging 16 a game, Perry Carter. Now it's down to 6, and the Buckeyes get the turnover. That's the 10th turnover by South Carolina. Ohio State also has 10. Chris Gent has made a difference out there.
He's been very inspirational. This shot here, he'll stick all night long if they let him shoot it. He missed that one, but he can shoot that shot all night long.
A little strong from Gent, who had hit 4 in a row, 5 out of 6 on the year from three-point range.
And they got 6'5" Gent on the point of this press, and I think it's a good idea on this half-court defense because he's a very active player, can make some things happen.
Under 3 minutes remaining first half. They get it down deep. John Hudson, he just rolls it in over the iron. Not the prettiest line drive, but it did the job, and Hudson, averaging 17, now has 8.
Well, I don't think they say anything about what it's supposed to look like. They want to know, does it go in? And that went in for Hudson.
Jamal Brown. You see George Felton. He says, get your arms up in that zone defense.
Well, they've changed exactly to a 1-2-2 zone. And what they do is they have those that roll from the middle to the top of the key.
Here's Jamal Brown for 3, and he knocks it down with Brent Price right in his face. Brown's first basket of the night.
Jamal Brown has been a pleasant surprise for him. They didn't think that he could shoot that jump shot, but they were expecting more Eli Brewster to play for him at that off guard spot, at the point guard spot. And Jamal has done a tremendous job. He's running the club. He's taking some good shots, and it's somebody they're really, really pleased with.
George Felton uses his first timeout of 4 remaining tonight. John Saunders is anchoring for us in the studio tonight. And at halftime, John will highlight the top 20 for you, bring you up to date on the other ball games taking place around the country. But Quinn Buckner, I've got to ask you about your Hoosiers. What about Bobby Knight's team earlier tonight and the Wildcats of Kentucky?
Well, I'm sure Coach Knight is pleased with the way the team has played, but it seems to me, and I'm sure people that have watched Indiana know that they've played the same way when they went to the 3-guard rotation this time, well, a little later in the season last year. They've come out, they've done it again. They've gone down to Kentucky for a win, a place that I don't believe Coach Knight has ever won.
Well, we've got Big Bowl week coming up for you next week on ESPN. The All-American Bowl from Birmingham, December 29th at 8 p.m. And then it's Oklahoma State and Wyoming in the SeaWorld Holiday Bowl, including the Heisman Trophy winner, Barry Sanders, and the Mazda Gator Bowl, January 1st at 8 p.m.
I'm sure the timeout was taken by George Felton because he wants his team to stay patient. They're right down here with the 2-minute mark. They want to try to get the score up to double figures if they're going to get the lead and go in at half with the lead.
Jay Burson will transition. Jamal Brown slid a little bit.
Great play.
And he almost scored despite being fouled. Brown almost traveled just as he received that pass.
One of the reasons he almost traveled is because Barry Manning did a good job trying to get back, and as well as Brent Price got his hand on the basketball. But Jamal Brown, showing his athletic ability, went up, got fouled, still almost had an opportunity to get that ball in the basketball.
Barry Manning on the foul. Jamal Brown, not a good start in the free throw shooting department, came in at only 57%.
I talked about how pleasantly surprised I was with this young man. I think he's still got a little way to go. He's going to show him a lot of different things. He's a great athlete.
Now that one will belong to South Carolina, and the Buckeyes can't believe it.
Well, you can't believe it if you look at Chris Gent, but he's so emotional, you doesn't think he's ever going to do anything wrong.
Gary Williams can't believe it either. He thought he had the ball with a chance to get back to within 2 and maybe 1. Now Dozier shovels for Rhett. He got Brown way off the floor, and what a move by Joe Rhett.
Well, that's an Alex English move there. He did that so easily. I didn't think he even knew where the basket was. He knocked it right down, ball fake to the right, came back to the left, knocked the shot right down.
He not only stopped on a dime, but he picked it up and scored. And the defender went right by him.
Just like Alex.
Brent Price with his second foul as Jay Burson dribbled into the right corner.
Jay Burson has an awkward, if you will, rhythm. It's an unusual rhythm, if you will. Instead of standing up there with the basketball, he feels he's so much better shooter on the move, but he'll just take the ball from the officials. You see he had 38 against Oklahoma in the opener, and just take a dribble, walk into his shot, and knock down the free throw.
He simply doesn't miss free throws, and for the first time tonight, we'll see 33 of Ohio State. There sitting down is Perry Carter, and into the game is Big Joe Dumas, a 6'9" senior out of Irvington, New York. Dumas a banger. He can throw the ball around a little bit and pass. He's in there for some defense to give Perry Carter a breather here with 1:15 left, maybe for the rest of the first half.
Well, I'm sure it's for the rest of the first half. Like we talked about, Perry Carter's got 2 fouls. You don't want him to get his third foul this early in the game. This will be the, right here going into the half.
By the way, of course, the All-American Bowl on ESPN as Price misses a 3. Hudson gets the rebound. Is Illinois against Florida, and the Gator Bowl, Georgia and Michigan State. Around, of course, that Wyoming-Oklahoma State game in the Holiday Bowl. Jay Burson with some great hustle and some pretty good skill to keep control of that one. Hey, Gary Williams has to be pretty pleased with the way his team's come back here, Quinn.
Oh, absolutely. They were down 13 points. At a point now, they can go in at down 2.
Tony White under pressure misses, and then Dumas with a foul after the miss with 33 seconds remaining in the half.
And a bad foul by Joe Dumas, but I think in his anxiety to try to make a good play, he doesn't get to play often. He got in there, started to reach for the basketball, got called for the foul.
It's a bad foul because not only is Ohio State in the penalty situation in fouls, but also you give a team that struggled offensively the last few minutes a chance to step up to the line and get a couple of points without any pressure. Grady Mateen back in, and Dumas checks right out. Brent Price will sit down. Precautionary move by George Felton. Price has 2 fouls, so JoJo English is back in. And it won't go for Barry Manning. So now Ohio State again has a chance to work it down, trailing with less than 30 seconds left by only 4 points after being down by as many as 13.
Well, they've really done a good job getting back into this game. But again, I mentioned the emotion that I thought South Carolina was playing on, and I think it took a little bit of the toll. Guys got tired, and now Ohio State has an opportunity to go in down 2, assuming they make this basket.
The shot clock is not a factor as Burson drives and dumps it left side. Jamal Brown for 3, missed it badly, and the first half will come to a close. But Ohio State has to be happy with being back within George Felton's team. Only 4 points down, 37-33. For Quinn Buckner, Bob Carpenter, that's the first half from Columbia, South Carolina. And now for halftime to the studio and John Saunders. Welcome back to the Frank McGuire Arena inside the Carolina Coliseum. We're ready for the second half with South Carolina up by 4 over the Buckeyes of Ohio State. South Carolina outshooting the Bucks by a good margin, Quinn, and when George Felton teams outshoot the opponents, they're 31-3.
Well, that's definitely been the case. I thought, as I said earlier here, South Carolina did a good job coming out and making some shots. I thought their shot selection was poor coming down the stretch. Everything else is fairly even, so I'm interested to see what happens here beginning of the second half. I'm sure Ohio State will show a great deal more patience than they did in the first half.
There's the third-year coach of the Gamecocks, who is the counterpart of Gary Williams of Ohio State, and South Carolina with it, trying to break that Ohio State pressure, and let's call him Brent Price. I knew I'd do that once tonight. Over the timeline, getting the half-court offense set up.
Ohio State comes right out into their zone. It's a 1-2-2 with Jerry Francis on the point. He sometimes drops into the middle, and that's to try to get South Carolina to shoot jump shots instead of getting the ball inside.
Price for three. Now he's 4 out of 5 on the night, and Brent Price has 16.
Ohio State is going to have to do a better job of pointing, and by pointing I mean making sure that they get somebody to get a hand in Brent's face.
Jamal Brown trying to go down deep to Perry Carter, and it's knocked out of bounds aggressively by Jeff Ralston. Number 13 back in there. We haven't seen much of the freshman tonight. 6'11", 245, because he had 2 early fouls, and George Felton got him out of there. Gary Francis against Terry Dozier. There's Person out on top against Barry Manning, who's a pretty good defensive guard.
He's a great defensive guard. He's one of the best athletes on the team, and that's usually one of his real attributes to defensive players. He's a good athlete. He's got a good chance to be a great defensive player.
Tony White down deep. Carter, nice entry pass from the wing by Tony White, and Perry Carter has only his second basket of the night.
Well, that has to be a good sign for Gary Williams, because, as you said, Perry Carter didn't score much in the first half, but his scoring is much needed for the second half.
Price penetrates and then dishes for Dozier, who dribbles his way to the paint. Terry Dozier has 6.
It wasn't pretty, but it went in.
Here's Burson going coast to coast, and it's off his hands. Jay thought he had been fouled on the way in, and Gary Williams is upset at the way the Metro officials are letting play continue.
Well, I thought it was a pretty good no call. It just happened to go off on Jay Burson's foot. Sometimes that happens. Jay will come back and he'll just continue to play, I'm sure.
South Carolina by 7, close to 2 minutes into the second half. Going for 6-0. Ohio State is 6-1 on the year. Dozier, who's 2 for 4 from the field, dishes to Price for 3.
The teeth of the defense, kicked it out to Brent Price for the wide-open three-point shot.
He's 5 of his last 6 from three-point range. Or, excuse me, 5 of 6 tonight, 8 for his last 9 over 2 ball games. Here's Francis. And Ralston with a block. Carter over his back, no call. Now it continues, and a foul on Ralston.
But if you're George Felton, you got to be pleased by the effort by Ralston. His mere presence, got a block shot. He came up with the basketball. You'll see it right here. There's a pass inside to Jerry Francis. Jerry pump fakes, goes to the basket. You see Ralston blocked the shot, did a good job keeping it in play, but he kept it over his hand. Perry Carter got a hand on it, and now he kicks the ball. But he's playing hard, and that's something that George Felton has to be pleased about.
Luckily for Ohio State, Perry Carter, who's playing with 2 fouls, got nothing but ball when he reached over from behind.
I agree, because I thought it was a poor decision for him to reach for the ball.
Jay Person. Here's Francis open from just inside the three-point line, and he gets the long rebound as the Gamecocks couldn't get outside. So Francis is into double figures with 11.
Ralston got hit in the head. The official was trying to see if he's all right, but the reason Jerry Francis came up with the rebound was Ralston got tripped and wasn't able to come up with it, so Jerry Francis ended up with not only the rebound, but the basket also.
8-point game. Pressure from the Buckeyes and 2 easy ones for Burson. Jay Burson has 14. Dozier breaks the pressure, gets it for Brent Price, and Brent will be careful now to set up the offense. But Jay Person, a rather unnecessary foul about 40 feet from the basket.
There is no reason for a foul like that, young player. Jay Burson did a cardinal mistake. You reach behind the play. That's when you're playing with your arms, not with your feet. There's nothing for him to get accomplished here. You see right here, Brent Price does the thing. He dribbles, and you see right here, this is just a bad foul.
But a moment ago, we saw how quickly Ohio State can get defense and points. Here they come again.
Great
Jamal
play.
Brown.
Great play.
Brown has come off the bench with 6 points. He started the game, didn't do anything, sat down for a while. Now he's come back to help on the offense. And Jerry Francis tripping up from behind Terry Dozier. That'll be number 2 on Francis as the long legs and feet got tangled up out at midcourt.
That's a good call by the official, but Ohio State has the ball going to the correct side in terms of pressure. You want it going to Dozier. You got a 7-footer trying to dribble the ball left-handed down the court. That's what Ohio State wants to happen.
Quinn, they've also got the tempo going the way they'd like it too.
Absolutely. They got it up-tempo. They've been a great deal more aggressive. I think more focused on what they want to get accomplished in this half as opposed to what they were trying to do in the first half.
Jamal Brown watching Manning, who stepped by him. Price with Burson passing up on the three-point attempt. Manning to Price. He penetrates off of his foot almost, and Dozier jumper left side. Tony White with position, and Manning with the foul. Second team foul in the half on South Carolina. Ohio State has 2. We're almost 4 minutes in at the Carolina Coliseum in Columbia. With Quinn Buckner, Bob Carpenter, it's a banger of a game so far. South Carolina by 4, 45-41. This game has been as intense as each coach.
It has been a very intense game, and what is starting to happen is the fans are doing a good job of trying to get in the game, get the South Carolina Gamecocks back involved.
Francis bouncing it down for Perry, and Tony White draws a foul with the offensive rebound. It'll be Manning with his 3rd.
Well, Tony White, I thought, did a great job of getting in there, coming up with the offensive rebound. Barry Manning and trying to stop White from going up to get the basket. As you see right here, this is the kind of play that you see a great deal in the Big Ten. Aggressive taken to the basket by Perry Carter. Tony White comes up with the rebound. Barry Manning tried to get the ball before Tony White went up with it. Unfortunately, missed it. Tony White now has 2 foul shots.
Tony White, one of the seniors on this team. Out of Pataskala, Ohio.
You got that right.
Of course. I saw Tony play when he was a freshman. Jay Burson, a freshman 3 years ago. Eldon Miller, the coach then. And then Gary Williams came on and has got things going pretty well. And now the Buckeyes are right back in it. They're only down by 2. We're 4:21 into the second half here in Columbia.
One of the things that has to be done for South Carolina is they want to be a big-time basketball club. They have to learn to handle the pressure that's going to come at them. What you see right here is a bad pass made. Perry Carter comes over with the basketball, and Jamal Brown do a great job crossing Terry Dozier up, taking the ball to the basket for 2 points. And you see the turnovers are definitely starting to work more so in Ohio State's favor. They were 9-8 in favor of Ohio State in the first half. They're now 4-1 in favor of South Carolina in the second half.
And remember, Ohio State had 10 when South Carolina only had about 6 to start the game. So lately the trend has been home team giving up the basketball. Brent Price has 19 tonight, tying his season high. But he had a lot more than that last year against Florida State. Nice inside, and John Hudson has 10.
And that's poor defense by Ohio State. I don't care if you're in zone or man-to-man. You cannot allow anybody to get the ball that close to the basket.
Jamal Brown going quickly to the hole, and that is a blocking foul on John Hudson. It'll be his 2nd.
But you saw a great athletic play. Jamal Brown is considered as the best athlete on Ohio State's team. In high school, he won the slam dunk championship, went in the all-star game. You see him go right at Hudson and then just move away a little bit to his left. Got the presence of mind to get a little touch on the basketball, get it up there. John Hudson gets called for the foul.
Oh, the book on Jamal Brown is that he has a great first step toward the basket, but he can't always finish the play. I don't blame him for not finishing that one with John Hudson all over him. Jamal gets it. He has 7.
South South Carolina's inexperience is starting to show a little bit. Barry Manning made a classic error. He got the ball in the corner, and when you do that and you're being pressed, you should avoid the corner, because what happened was Ohio State used the two baseline or two out-of-bounds lines. They'd be an extra defensive play.
Jay Burson with a foul in the backcourt. That's number 3 on the Ohio State senior guard. Burson will take a seat with those 3 fouls, as we'll get another look at how it all happened.
You see the ball will come in to Brent Price, and he does exactly what you do. And I don't know why Jay Burson was complaining about that. That was definitely a foul.
I think the second foul he committed was the one that really hurt, the one way out by midcourt. That would have only been his second had he not had a mental lapse on the one before.
Well, that could come back to haunt Ohio State if Jay Burson doesn't play smart here in the second half.
Right side of your screen, James Bradley, number 4, in for the Buckeyes.
Good fake.
Dozier got Carter way up off the floor, and now Perry Carter has 3 fouls.
That was a good fake by the senior, Terry Dozier. He had Perry Carter on his back when he received the ball, turned facing the basket, did a pump fake, and Perry Carter made a classic defensive mistake. He got off his feet. When you're playing defense and the guy ball fakes, you stay down and just raise your hands above your head. Perry Carter didn't do that and got called for the foul.
Terry Dozier, always a good outside player. This year as a senior, he's come inside more, and with fakes like that, he's become a lot better in that part of the court. He also defensively, Quinn, is the guy who put the stops on Dyron Nix of Tennessee the other night. Nix went in averaging 31 a game, and he only scored 11 against South Carolina in what was this club's biggest upset in years on the road.
Well, both of the seniors, I thought, did a great job in that game. Terry Dozier did a good job defensively. Hudson shot it poorly in the first half. In the second half, he shot it better, and they ended up coming away with the victory.
Here's James Bradley. Penetrates inside the free throw line, got his own, and got the shooter's touch.
Great effort by James Bradley to come up with the rebound basket.
First basket of the night. They go straight up the right side, and Joe Reck gets it left side. Dozier will get it back out to Manning and Price to refire the offense. There's another 3. He's 9 for his last 10.
Well, he can stick it. If he gets his feet set looking at that basket, he can make it all day long.
Manning with a steal. 2 on 3. Yes!
Well, Jay Burson's out of the game, and Ohio State is a very poor ball handling team. George Felton said he was going to increase the pressure as soon as Jay Burson went out.
Burson will be back in. Gary Williams got him up off the bench as soon as that ball went through. Shot clock is down to 15. And underneath, Tony White picks up the garbage for 2.
Yeah, but the play was made by James Bradley. He was able to get his hand on the basketball, keep it live, and Tony White came up with that rebound basket. But Bradley made the play by being active underneath.
So Ohio State scores with the crowd going insane and gets back to within 4.
I thought Ohio State showed extremely good patience, considering the fans were up and cheering, and that tends to make people get a little bit anxious.
Manning gets it back from Rhett, penetrates, knocked away, but Price gets it away from James Bradley. And then he's fouled by Jerry Francis. You know, that was a good non-call by the officials out of midcourt. Both players going for the ball, Price just a little bit quicker.
Well, I agree with you. What I do think happened, though, is that Brent Price caused the contact. The official made a good no call in it because I don't think from his angle he could see it. He didn't make the call right there. Brent Price did a good job taking the ball, creating some action. Jerry Francis fouled him.
Francis, along with number 30, Jamal Brown, taking a seat. Jay Burson back in for Ohio State, and Instant Fire is back in as well, Chris Gent.
Well, I think, yeah, it's good to have the Instant Fire in, but the one thing that I mentioned just a moment ago, Jay Burson's back in, is because Ohio State was not really getting any penetration or good movement with the basketball. See, Brent Price here with 23 points, and Jay Burson is the person that really gets that going from.
Burson gets the long rebound. 5-point spread, 12:35 remaining in Columbia. Second half of our ESPN doubleheader tonight after we had Indiana knocking off Kentucky. So the Big Ten is 1-0 tonight. Can they make it a couple? Tony White. Look at that work on the offensive iron.
There he is again. He's been steady for him all year long. There again.
White has 10. Brent Price with James Bradley watching him. Gent out on top of a zone look for Ohio State. Joe Rett, no. Hudson had an easy layback in, and I think he was a little confused after having no one contesting him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he got a little bit disoriented. He got up very high. Nobody got up around him, and instead of taking the ball down and putting it back in or putting it right back in with some authority, he ended up making a bad play.
It was almost as if he expected to get walloped. Nobody touched him, and then he was off balance for the shot.
I agree. I think that's just been the nature of this game today. It's been a very physical contest.
11:51 remaining. It's a 3-point.
Tony White has been a very effective player for Ohio State. Perry Carter gets the ball, takes it up, and you wondered if the tired legs of South Carolina are starting to show. As you see, Tony White gets 2 opportunities to get an offensive rebound basket right there. You see on the rebounding that Ohio State is starting to become a little bit stronger. They got 9-4 edge as opposed to the 12-11 they had at the half.
11:51 remaining. Ohio State with the ball, down by 3. Buckeyes have never led in this game, except for the very first time on the floor, and other than that, it's been all South Carolina.
Good pass.
Carter couldn't hit the jump ball. Bradley with a couple of fakes, and it's pulled down by John Hudson.
That was a good pass inside. Perry Carter has not been very effective for Ohio State. James Bradley tried to keep it live, wasn't able to do so. Brent Price now has the basketball for South Carolina.
Running that half-court offense. McCoy. And Gent slapped it away from Terry Dozier, who had an easy offensive rebound. So Gent, a good play defensively at that end. Inside, they get it to Hudson. Hard to the iron, and Tony White fouls him. That'll be 2 on Tony. Team foul 6 on Ohio State. South Carolina has 5 with almost 11 minutes remaining. John Hudson to the line, a 6'8" senior from Anderson, South Carolina. Hudson has 11. He averages a team-leading 17 and a team-leading 9 rebounds per game. Hudson has 12. Jerry Francis will check back in for Ohio State as we tell you about another doubleheader on ESPN. ACC action, Wake Forest and #1 Duke at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, followed by Rhode Island against the Running Rebels of UNLV, ranked number 13. That one follows at 10 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Francis right off the bench. Nice pass to Gent, and he can't get it to roll.
Good play, good pass. It was a good shot. It just didn't happen to go down for Ohio State that time. That's some good defense also by South Carolina.
Ball movement here by the Gamecocks against a zone look by the Buckeyes.
They're still in that 1-2-2, but they're not doing a very good job, I don't think, of getting the ball, not allowing the ball in the paint.
And the rebound and a really unnecessary foul by Troy McCoy. Perry Carter was totally uncontested for the rebound, and McCoy just got him with an elbow or a forearm and shoved it.
And he also got an earful from Eddie Payne, who agrees with him. That was a bad foul. Perry Carter had the rebound. There's no need for Troy McCoy to foul anyway.
It's really a bad foul when it's your 16th foul and there's 10 minutes left in the game. Free throw shooting could be a factor down the stretch. Burson, short for 3. Look at John Hudson jumping out of the gym. You know, I don't really call on history too much, Quinn, because I think every ball game is a new experience in itself. But under George Felton, South Carolina is 32-4 when leading with 10 minutes left in the game. Now, that may not mean much tonight, but it does mean his teams have a habit of holding on to leads.
And I'm sure, I would say the reason that they're able to do that is because they're very patient. They generally take good shots, and they work very hard defensively. So that will say once you get a lead that you're pretty well able to protect them.
Here's Dozier checking Hudson with a turnaround, and Jet skies for the rebound. It appeared Troy McCoy had some position underneath, but then he lost it.
Great hands.
Person hands the ball right into the chest of Hudson.
Well, you say he handed it to him. What happened was Burson got the ball in the way, and Brent Price did a good job of knocking the ball away from Burson from behind.
9 minutes remaining. 5 points the spread. South Carolina leading all the way. Price too tall for Hudson. And the Buckeyes, who just can't seem to get back even in this game. They've gotten it back to 3. They got it back to 1 at 47-46. Gary Williams' team just unable to get over that final hurdle to get tied or take the lead.
Well, Gary, as we just saw there in the picture, he's really struggling to try to figure out what offense he needs in order to get his team some points, because they haven't been able to do a lot from their offensive pattern.
Burson gets it back from White, drives baseline right, and draws the foul on Brent Price, his third. That's how a guy who is 6 feet tall and weighs 156 pounds draws a foul in major college basketball. He goes right at people, Quinn.
Well, he's a very aggressive offensive player. You see going up right there. The official called a foul because they felt Brent Price had his hand on the basket, on the arm. Now, folks, I'll let you call it. You see right here, take the ball to the defense. My call might have been a little bit different than the official, but they don't pay me for that.
That's definitely a questionable call. Burson goes to the line where he's unstoppable. Jay with 15 on the night. Now he's got 7 in a row from the line, and that gives him 24 consecutive good free throws.
But Jay Burson has also become, I think, more aggressive with the basketball. He's looking for opportunities much more so now than he did early in the basketball game.
3-point game with less than 8.5 remaining. Manning for Dozier with the jumper. And South Carolina immediately calls a timeout. So it's 59-54 Gamecocks with 8:15 remaining in a dandy of a game from Columbia. Welcome back to Columbia, South Carolina. 8:15 remaining, 59-54. USC over OSU. Well, we said the story here, Jay Burson and Brent Price, the guards.
Yeah, it is. And we were talking about the rebounding necessary need to be for Ohio State. They got the rebounding edge, but they're losing right now. But you see that Brent Price is really doing a great job for South Carolina. He's got 23 points. And Ohio State hadn't been able to do very much with the tempo, because I think the South Carolina's guard, Price being one of them, as well as Manning, has done a much better job getting their shot opportunities.
Around the perimeter go the Buckeyes as South Carolina plays the zone. Each coach, by the way, with 2 timeouts remaining.
Well, I think this is a good call by George Felton to come back and try to slow it down, make sure that all the shots taken for South Carolina, for Ohio State, are jump shots.
Manning running, can't hit. Hudson. Oh.
Great shot.
And that's number 4 on Perry Carter.
See the ball being pushed up. And you see a great try right here by Manning. He takes the ball, tries to go under, doesn't get it back up high enough. But you see coming right behind him is Hudson. He got the ball, got his shot at left hand, and he's now got an opportunity for a 3-point play. Great move.
Hey, how about that underneath? Jeff Ralston, scoreless tonight, but his job is to rebound and play defense. On possession, the Buckeyes get it, but what that means is the next time on a possession, South Carolina will have it, and that really should have been a free rebound for the visiting team.
It should have been, but the reason I hollered great move is that I thought that Ralston did a good job of coming from his position. He reverse pivot, was able to get there and get the tie up there, and you're right. Next time it's going to be South Carolina's basketball.
Carter sitting down with 4 fouls, 7.5 minutes remaining. Grady Mateen is in there for the Buckeyes. Number 51, right side of your screen.
there's a lot of time in this contest, and Ohio State has to just stay patient and take the opportunities that are given to them. As you see, a great bounce pass by Jay Burson to Jerry Francis.
How about that give and go through traffic? Francis gave it outside of the wing, went right down the paint. Jay Burson bounced it right back to him.
State has come back now, and they're in their man-to-man. They weren't doing a very good job in the zone by keeping the ball out of the paint. And that's what a zone should normally do.
Yeah, but Gary Williams' team's playing man-to-man best anyway. A little too strong on the jumper was Hudson. Held in, and the Gamecocks will get another 45 seconds on the shot clock. They lead by 5 with 6.5 minutes remaining. Price for Ralston, kicks it back out to Dozier from Price. Francis clawing away, reaching in, and a foul on Jay Burson. That's number 4. So 2 Buckeyes, the 2 guys we featured in our pregame segment, Jay Burson and Perry Carter, each with 4 fouls.
Well, they can most definitely ill afford to lose Jay Burson. As you can see, a concerned Gary Williams there trying to figure out what to do. But you see the play again will be made by Dozier. He takes the ball into the teeth of the defense, and in doing so, you see that the ball has gotten hit there by Jay Burson. I would have to just look at that, let the officials make the call. I tried it last time, didn't do very well. I'm going to leave it go.
Hey, we like hearing your opinions. You played in Indiana, 10 years in the NBA. You're certainly qualified.
Okay, right here, you see it's coming at you again. You can make the call. It looks to me as though that's all ball. The official made the call on this end against Ohio State. He made it on the other end, the same kind of play for Brent Price, but he made it against him, so I guess it evened out.
A familiar pattern is emerging with these Gamecocks. Seniors Terry Dozier and John Hudson doing it with the game on the line in the second half.
Well, they're also doing something that they haven't done very well. They're starting to shoot their free throws. They're in the bonus opportunity. They've made their free throws thus far, and they continue to do so. It can be a real problem for Ohio State.
Clock moves under, 6 minutes remaining. South Carolina by 7. Gent trying to erase 3 off of that. Burson with a long rebound, and Dozier with his first foul of the night.
I like Gent. This game is a tough, well-contested game. He sees an opportunity to take a shot. He's a great jump shooter, as you see Terry Dozier right there. He takes the shot. It's a tough place to take it, but he's got the nerve to take the shot.
Quinn, looking into the future, not that easy, but Ohio State has some great young players. They've got a 7-foot, 245 freshman in Bill Robinson, who we haven't seen tonight. This team looks like in a couple of years, if they can compensate for the loss of Jay Burson and Jerry Francis, like it will be a contender in the Big Ten again.
Well, even as important as Robinson is, as you see Jay Burson is 8 for 8, he just missed that one. They also have 2 guys that were Prop 48. Eli Brewster is a tremendous athlete, as well as Craig Lee. Both of the guys are having some trouble after not playing for an entire season. They missed the competition, and I think that's hurt them tremendously. That's one of the reasons the guy coming in here, and in your pictures, Jamel Brown, has got to play more, because those other 2 kids have not been able to play after being Prop 48 kids.
With Jamal Brown in, Jay Burson sits down with 17 points and 4 fouls. We will see him again, count on it, as well as Perry Carter.
You will also see the defensive pressure of South Carolina picked up, because Jay Burson's out of the game, and that's when South Carolina took off later in the first half.
Brent Price for Barry Manning. Gent defensively. Dozier against Francis. This is Hudson inside. And a foul. And that is all for Perry Carter.
Well, that's really going to hurt him, Perry Carter not being in the game. But quite frankly, Perry Carter hadn't been very effective all game. He's got some rebounds. He takes up a lot of space. But he's been averaging 16 points. He hadn't done that tonight. And they're going to put Jay Burson back in the game to make up for Perry Carter. I guess that's a fair exchange.
Perry Carter, who had 23 at Dayton the other night, fouls out with 4 points and only 2 rebounds.
You see Hudson coming to the basket. And from this angle, it's tough to tell, but I think the official made a good call. Perry Carter went up, slapped Hudson on the arm as he was taking a shot.
So Carter is gone. Hudson goes to the line. Gary Williams will call on his 7-foot senior, Grady Mateen, who has 1 foul and no points on the night. Now, Grady Mateen is usually the first big man off the bench. If he can get aggressive and rebound. Those are the big question marks about Grady, who seems to be more of a finesse player. He'll have to do some banging here.
Well, he's not nearly the player, and this is not in deference to Grady Mateen, but he's not the player that Perry Carter is, and it's going to be a real challenge to Grady Mateen to see if he can come up with some rebounds and a couple points for Ohio State.
Here's where South Carolina has a problem. As a team, the Gamecocks only shoot 67% from the line.
Well, it really hurts when your seniors don't make it because it can become contagious when the young players start doing the same thing.
Francis juking his way to 2. And now we'll see if the senior, who they call Gramps, Jerry Francis, takes control of this team. Burson has to be careful on the trap. He's got 4 fouls. Right through him, Dozier. Back on top to Price. They'll have 30 seconds on the shot clock to work with. Under 5 minutes remain. There's Dozier, too strong. Ralston with the rebound, and Grady Mateen from behind fouls him.
Ralston did a good job of being active there. Grady Mateen has got to do a much better job on the block out. He's got Jeff Ralston, he's a young player. It's going to look like he's got some pretty good skills. Right now he looks a little slow-footed as you see Grady Mateen. You see the shot taken there by Dozier. And on your right-hand corner, actually, Ralston made a classic move. Instead of Mateen blocking Ralston out, Ralston blocked Mateen out and was able to come up with it. Now he's going to shoot 2 free throws.
He's not a real good free throw shooter. That's 6 for 11 on the year. Ralston redshirted last year. Coaches felt he wasn't ready to play at this level. And also the Gamecock program was still on that 2-year probation. They wanted to give him 4 nice, clean years to play, and he's going to be around for a while in the Metro Conference.
Well, he's been a surprise for him this year, and I think it was a good decision to redshirt him, because I think in the long run it's going to help not only him but the basketball team.
This is still a ball game. 5 points the spread. That's only a 2-pointer and a long one by Burson from being tied. So the Buckeyes, despite all their problems tonight with Carter out of the game and turnovers, are still very much in this game. Grady Mateen missing, and John Hudson taking control of the defensive boards for South Carolina. With 5 minutes left in the game under George Felton, Carolina is 36-1 when they have the lead. Price can't handle it. Burson has Jamal Brown and Francis with him, and Jamal Brown gets the rebound, and Ralston, out of control, fouls him. That'll be 4 fouls on Jeff Ralston.
That was a freshman mistake. Ralston, in his eagerness to try to get back in the game, involved in the contest, got faked by a good ball fake by Jamal Brown. That was an ill-advised foul by Ralston, but George Felton knows that it was a good effort, so he'll put up with that right now.
Looks like Joe Dumas will be back in a moment for Ohio State. Gary Williams talking to him.
Well, I think if he comes in, he's going to come in for Grady Mateen. They have to figure out a way to try to get somebody who took a shot that he normally can't make, and then just a bad time to take it.
Jamal Brown with 10. If he makes this, it'll be a 3-point game. Jamal Brown has 11 on the night. The Buckeyes are right back into it. 64-61 with 3:51 remaining. With his wife Jane to your right, Frank McGuire, who coached 16 great years here, won better than 280 games, previously had won a national championship in North Carolina. The arena is named after him. The banner hangs upstairs for his 500 wins. But maybe Coach McGuire did do something wrong. He cut that man twice, trying out for his team. George Felton cut twice by the coach. But I tell you, it's great to see Frank McGuire back a part of this program. When he was not a part of this program under Bill Foster, they did not get along very well. But now George Felton has Mr. McGuire active in recruiting. He travels with the team some, and that's the way it should be.
Well, not only is Coach McGuire more active, like a lot of the players from the past have become more active. Brian Winters, Alex English. You see Dozier take the ball down and make a nice little jump shot right there.
By the way, that's the Bill Foster at Northwestern now, not the gentleman down coaching Miami. 3:30 remaining, 66-61.
Now, for Ohio State, it's time for some of the leaders to take over. I mean by that, the seniors. Burson's got to do something. Francis, they're going to have to be the guys to take the shot. As you see Jerry Francis take a three-pointer there.
Dumas on the rebound and two. Joe Dumas averaging 1 point a game. Drills one that gets the game back to a three-point status. Here's Dozier. And a charge as Dumas at the other end stood his ground.
Well, you got a 7-footer. Terry Dozier, I thought, made a classic mistake. Once he got it over half court, he's got to know, he's played long enough to know, don't try to take the ball to the basket. You see him coming down here, and Dumas fighting hard to try to get back, because you see Jerry Francis reach for the ball. Dozier goes there, takes the position. I think it's a good call. I think it's a bad decision by Dozier. I think it's a good call by the official.
You know why it's such a bad decision? His team's leading with 3 minutes left, and he's 1-on-2.
Well, I agree with. That's why I said it was a bad decision. And he's got to know, after playing basketball for 4 years here and all the years he's played at junior college and what have you, that you just don't make those kind of decisions, particularly with 3 minutes to go being up 3 points.
I think players make those decisions at midcourt, and then they just try to carry them out. It's too late by then to change. Here's Burson for Jamal Brown. Jay Burson penetrating and blocked by Brent Price. Burson got it back, and that's goaltending.
But that shows you the competitiveness of Jay Burson. That was a great block, I thought, by Brent Price. Burson had the presence of mind to get the basketball, take it to the basket. Got 2 points on the goaltending call.
A 1 point game after a big play by Burson. How many players would have hung their head after being stuck? Burson got the ball and took it right back to the hole.
Well, that's a combination of two things. He's played a lot of basketball, and he's a senior, and he's just very competitive and knows just never say die.
South Carolina 66, Ohio State 65. Underneath, easy. Brent Price has 25. And now it's 68 to 65.
Jay Burson got caught watching the basketball. Brent Price did the thing you need to do. Go to the basket and make people find you.
We're having some graphics problems, so we'll keep you up to date verbally on the score as much as we can. Manning fouled, and that looks like number 5 on Jay Burson.
I believe they called the foul on Tony White. Barry Manning did a good job coming up with the rebound. It was a tough shot by Jay Burson. He took a running 18-footer.
All the South Carolina players were pointing at Burson. They want him out of there.
Oh, I can't blame them for that.
I took their fake.
Well, you got caught with it.
Yeah, they got me. Tony White, his third. James Bradley set the check back in for the Buckeyes. He'll replace Burson, who won't be out for long. 2:08 left. He'll have a brief discussion with Gary Williams and then be back in shortly. 68-65, South Carolina, 2:08 remaining. There's the poor free throw shooting, rearing its ugly head again for the home team. Gary Williams wants timeout. Now he wants to talk to everybody, and Williams has 1 timeout remaining after this. 2:02 remaining, 68-65. South Carolina still on top. Boy, good one here tonight. Bob Carpenter with Quinn Buckner. Gary Williams has used all but 1 timeout now. 2:02 left. South Carolina 68. Ohio State 65. Buckeyes with it.
South Carolina is now in a 3-2 or 1-2-2 zone, and what they have is 6'9" Terry Dozier out on the point of that zone, making a formidable obstacle for Jay Burson to have to shoot over.
Francis for 3 and the tie.
Again, you see your seniors come in, take the load there. Jerry Francis, a very inspirational player for Ohio State, make a big three-pointer for him. Now it's up to South Carolina to stay patient and take whatever the defense gives them.
Tie game in the last minute, 25. 68-68, Manning. Rebound, John Hudson. Put it on the floor, and Jay Burson fouls out.
You see Jay Burson going out of the game there. He's got 19 points. Shot goes up, and Jay Burson, as you the lower part of your screen, does what he always does. He goes and tries to get his hand. He swings up at the basketball. The official makes a good call. I think Jay knocked on the arm, hit Hudson on the arm. And I thought it was a good call by the official. Now Ohio State is going to have to manufacture some points because Jay Burson is the person who normally does it for them. They got Jamal Brown coming in. So they're going to probably try to keep the tempo up. Jerry Francis is probably going to be the guy that will be very active, along with Tony White.
19 points, 3 assists, and 4 steals for Jay Burson tonight. Hudson with that odd free throw shooting motion drops one in. His 15th point of the night. Watch number 12 left of your screen.
You see Jay Burson again. He goes, and clearly it's a foul. He has the right idea. Swing up at the basketball. The officials sometimes don't see that, but I thought they made a good call there. As you see Chris Gent has come into the basketball game. And what they're doing is getting another three-pointer in the game. Somebody very active.
Who can compensate for the loss of Burson. Hudson has 16 with a minute 15 remaining. It's 70-68 South Carolina. Tony White from Gent. It'll be up to James Bradley to bring the ball up the floor. Tough defense by Barry Manning, and a 5-second call. Just as he was making the pass, the 5-second call by the official.
It was close.
That was real close.
That's all I'll say.
Carolina 70, Ohio State 68. Gamecocks over the years under George Felton have been brilliant late with the lead. Can they hold on? Furious defense by the Buckeyes. And Chris Gent with his second foul.
But more importantly, Ohio State has already got in the penalty, so South Carolina gets to shoot for this. And now is the time to find out. We talked about the shooting percentage of both teams from the foul line. South Carolina has not been typically a very good foul shooting team, but this is an opportunity to find out how good they can really be.
41 seconds remaining. Dozier, who shoots only 64% from the line, the man on the spot. But he shot well tonight.
Shot that one like he knew it was going in right away. I mean, it hit nothing but the bottom of the net.
Late free throws help the Gamecocks win at Tennessee in double OT on Saturday night. Now they're hoping to ride some free ones to a win at home. 16 for Dozier. 4-point lead. 40 seconds remaining. Bradley, Tony White for 3. Too strong. Francis fell down, but Jamal Brown guns for 3, and that one is short. And Tony White gets the rebound. 25 seconds remaining. Gent for 3. Rebound, Brent Price. And a foul on the Buckeyes.
Well, that is clearly the wrong person to foul.
John Hudson. Tony White has it. The Buckeyes are not dead yet. Down by 4. And double dribble by Gent at midcourt. A deadly unforced error.
Yeah, but see, Gent has never been involved in a situation like this. The fans are just screaming. Gent tried to make a tough decision quickly. Didn't make the proper decision. Thought he was going to get the pass. Didn't do it. Got called for the double dribble. I thought Tony White got away with a travel. I was under the impression anytime a man hits the ground with the ball, that is automatically a travel. Obviously, I've made a mistake in thinking that.
So with 16 seconds remaining, George Felton spends his 3rd timeout. Each coach has 1 timeout remaining. It's Carolina 72, Ohio State 68.
Well, in this timeout, South Carolina is going to probably try as best they can to keep the ball in the hands of Brent Price. He's a great free throw shooter. He's a good enough ball handler that it'd be a problem for Ohio State to try to get it away from him. Ohio State, on the other hand, has got to come out, and if they're smart, they will probably foul, try to get Brent on the line, and hope that he misses it.
Bob Lee and Bill Patrick will update the entire day in sports, college basketball, and all that goes with it right after our game tonight. We've got 16 seconds remaining. on a late night game on the East Coast this evening. We're approaching the midnight hour here in Columbia. And what a tribute to this crowd, Quinn. Most of the students have gone home for the holidays. The Frank McGuire Arena in the Carolina Coliseum holds 12,401. And tonight, with a lot of kids out of school, they draw 11,375, and they have really made some noise.
They've not only made some noise, I guarantee you the next game, this place will be filled up because South Carolina has done themselves a great deal of justice by the way they've played tonight.
John Hudson fouled at midcourt. Looks like Jerry Francis, the man they're pointing at. That will be 4 on the Ohio State senior.
The fans are sighing because they wanted to get an intentional foul, which would have had South Carolina not only getting 2 foul shots, but they would also have gotten the basketball. The official saw it another way, called it 1-and-1 for Hudson.
Hudson has 17. If he makes this one, it'll take 2 threes just to tie with Jay Burson on the bench. Under 10 seconds now. Bradley's got to shoot it. It doesn't go in, and this game is over.
This is a big win for South Carolina. They've been trying to get their program back on track. George Felton has done a great job. Got his team to beat Tennessee in triple overtime 2 nights ago. Now they got to win tonight. Great win for them. That's
Quinn Buckner. I'm Bob Carpenter. Thanks for joining us from Columbia. Gamecocks are 6-0. They win it 74-68. The Buckeyes fall to 6-2 on the year. John Saunders, quite a battle of top 20 teams tonight.